Before the primary on Tuesday, on Sunday, March 2, there's an election in Russia for the successor to President Putin. What can you tell me about the man who's going to be Mr. Putin's successor?
Well, I can tell you that he's a hand-picked successor, that he is someone who is obviously being installed by Putin, whom Putin can control, who has very little independence, the best we know. You know, there's a lot of information still to be acquired, that the so-called opposition was basically run out of the political opportunity to wage a campaign against Putin's hand-picked successor. And the so-called leading opposition figure spends most of his time praising Putin. So this is a clever but transparent way for Putin to hold on to power. And it raises serious issues about how we're going to deal with Russia going forward. I have been very critical of the Bush administration for what I believe to have been an incoherent policy toward Russia. And with the reassertion of Russia's role in Europe, with some of the mischief that they seem to be causing in supporting Iran's nuclear ambitions, for example, it's imperative that we begin to have a more realistic and effective strategy toward Russia. But I have no doubt, as president, even though technically the meetings may be with the man who is labeled as president, the decisions will be made by Putin.
Who will it be? Do you know his name?
Medvedev, whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
Senator Obama, you know anything about him?
Well, I think Senator Clinton speaks accurately about him. He is somebody who was handpicked by Putin. Putin has been very clear that he will continue to have the strongest hand in Russia in terms of running the government. And, you know, let's just think back to the beginning of President Bush's administration, when he said, you know, he met with Putin, looked into his eyes and saw his soul, and figured he could do business with him. He then proceeded to neglect our relationship with Russia at a time when Putin was strangling any opposition in the country, when he was consolidating power, rattling sabers against his European neighbors as well as satellites of the former Soviet Union. And so we did not send a signal to Mr. Putin that, in fact, we were going to be serious about issues like human rights, issues like international cooperation that were critical to us. That is something that we have to change.
He's 42 years old. He's a former law professor. He was Mr. Putin's campaign manager. He's going to be the new president of Russia. And if he says to the Russian troops, you know what, why don't you go help Serbia, retake Kosovo, what does President Obama do?
Well, I think that we work with the international community that has also recognized Kosovo and state that that's unacceptable. But fortunately, we have a strong international structure anchored in NATO to deal with this issue. We don't have to work in isolation.